Hey guys, we are Creed. This is Creed Guardian. We are a clan that focuses on helping new people. Please don't subscribe to the channel, or we're not trying to be a YouTuber or something like that. We're just trying to help new people who need it and have this be a resource. Anyway, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to look at different unit compositions and do a tier list. So here's the S tier to the F tier, and here is our first type of unit, which is the Marauder times 20. What are you guys' thoughts on the Marauder? Is this A tier, S tier, B tier? What are your thoughts? Okay.
Very strong,
A-tier,
but so
why do you think it's
situational.
A-tier?
Because when used well, it ends a game. But
Yeah.
they're made out of paper bags, so
True.
they're very niche use. You either get that push going, or they just blow up in any other equivalent metal cost confrontation.
Yep, makes sense. Any other thoughts on this one before we place it?
I
Yeah,
would think it's in my opinion, it would probably make it to S tier because not only you can, as it was said before, you can end games by rushing. It's really agile, but
Yeah.
it's also pretty good for defense as you can rush back to help in the right circumstances. It can be a good option for both offense and defense.
I think so. I
Yeah,
really think it's S. I like it. What do you think? Go ahead.
yeah. As for his mobility, because he can push forward and retrieve to defense, so the mobility makes the difference in the game.
Yeah. It's a really, really fast unit. It can outrun pretty much everything that it's up against when it's out. However, it's only useful for those first 20 minutes. It's really, after a certain point, it's a useless unit in that it goes against Razorbacks. We are considering that all these unit compositions will be on their ideal thing, and so this thing would be going through a sea, an open sea toward an enemy, and like on Supreme Strait, and I think it belongs in S tier for that reason. But that's just my thought. Since there was more S than not, we're going to leave it in S. Let's go to the next unit comp, the infamous Sheldon Ball. So, put the Sheldon Ball here. Where do you guys think this belongs?
B.
B? Okay. Tell me your thoughts.
For like going into tier 2, it's very strong, but for the first like 5 minutes, they're strong, but then when other people get tier 2, they just get kind of demolished.
What do you normally see them demolished by?
Spam. Usually
Spam?
tick spam or anything that can get to them really fast.
How about Banishers? Do you think Banishers outclass them so bad that they should not be as good?
Banishers, they have the AoE and can just one shot can, if they're in a bubble, like together, it can do massive damage, just annihilate them, one Banisher.
Let me take a look at the Banisher range. Banishers, did they outrange the Sheldon? I believe the Sheldon outranges the Banisher, does it not?
It does, but if they don't see the Banisher, that's kind of the problem.
Yeah.
That's why you usually build a radar bot, but if you kill the radar bot and the jammer bot, then the Sheldons get, like, their value get decreased a lot because they are not shooting.
Let's actually compare the Banisher with the Sheldon on. I'm just doing this as I share my screen here. Sheldon. Can I not do this with Cortex via Cortex? Oh, I have to type it in separate. Okay, Sheldon versus Banisher. All right, so the Banisher costs more than twice as much. It has more than twice the amount of health. It has almost the same range, but the Sheldon outranges it. So you can build 2.5 Sheldons for the Banisher, but I still think the Banisher is going to take out those 2.5 Sheldons in most cases, unless those Sheldons are really well microed. So, yeah. Any other thoughts on the Sheldon Ball?
I would say
I think
that
it's overrated. It's used a lot, but they lack splash, and they can grab some single targets. But
Interesting.
yeah, they're bad at dealing with large swarms.
Awesome. Okay, let's leave them in B tier. I think that's where they belong. That's what I'm thinking with them. You guys agree with that decision?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's move on to the next one. We have the Catapult Shiva combination. Where do you guys think this one belongs?
B tier as well.
B tier. Okay.
Only because the catapult is included, and that feels a bit like a noob trap.
I like the catapult. It's very dangerous, very long range, hard to counter, especially when you're up against in the start of tier 2, which is these are still start of tier 2 units. It's tier 3, sorry. I think they're pretty powerful. What do you guys think? I'm feeling a B tier myself.
I would put it at C tier, but again, only because of the catapult. A whole bunch of Shivas. Personally, I think that if you remove the catapult and just spam Shivas, then you can just push them forward. And if you have a catapult in there, then you need to be careful because the catapult is also made out of a wet paper bag and needs those Shivas in front. So you have to micro them a lot more, and you're more APM taxed. Even though just a whole bunch of Shivas are still gonna happily push in.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it has amazing splash damage, and there's a good chance for a large payoff, but
it could be
micro intensive. Yeah.
Go ahead, jump in. That's it.
Oh, the splash damage could be dangerous too against your own.
Against your own units, they definitely you run some ticks in there, you are having problems. So yeah, I kind of agree. I kind of agree that it's C tier. I think it's good enough to be C, not bad enough to be D.
Definitely.
All right, let's go to Whistler Commander. So, sorry, it's an Armada or a Cortex Commander, but just use your imagination. Where do you guys think this should go? Is this A, B, C, D? What sort of tier is this? Think about facing other tier 1 units, not like all these expensive units.
I would put it at least in B tier. You can do a lot of good harassing.
Yeah, B or A.
They have good range. However, they are not really maneuverable.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get away. You could probably rush them.
Yeah.
However, it's good at harassing defensive positions. For example.
Very early, I would.
Yeah, and with the commander in there, very solid. That provides a little bit of the front line that the Whistlers need, and the Whistlers provide the AA defense that the commander needs. I think it's very solid.
What do you guys normally do
either
to counter
B or A.
this? What is the known counter when you guys encounter this? What do you build?
Ticks.
Ticks? Yeah, ticks is the solution to everything.
I go around.
Yeah, I love ticks.
Pretty much all tanks like brutes.
Yeah.
With they have great speed. So
medium to heavy tanks. Yeah.
Brute. I'll pull up the brute on the screen here and take a quick look. Brute. I can English. I promise I can English. What is the missile truck called in the Cortex version?
Lasher. Is it Lasher?
Lasher. Yeah.
Lasher.
All right. So with the brute is more expensive. It has a ton more health. I mean, I feel like the Lasher's made out of paper. It does more damage per hit. It has a lot less range, but its speed is substantially higher, meaning that the Lashers are going to get caught up by the brute. But that's why you have the the comm in front, and that's why I think this is actually a hidden powerful thing. That I think that it's a solid B tier in my opinion. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's B tier.
A.
Sounds good.
Maybe A. I'm actually tempted to go low A.
Sounds good.
Since you said it. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
I agree.
Hailstorms in mass. I really underestimate, because I hate going air so much. I've been teaching myself to go air because in the 1,000 hours of play I have or something like that, I've seen these things end games so many times. I really think they're a powerful group of units. You definitely need to scout a lot and you need to see where you're going, but it's not uncounterable for sure. I mean, any regular flak and enough air can counter it. So is it an amazing unit group? Not necessarily, but does it win a lot of games? In quantity, so many times out of 10 I see them win games, What do you guys think?
I agree with you, with everything you said, but I wouldn't put it in A tier, but I would put it in B tier, because usually it's not so much that the bombers win the game by themselves, but more like that other activities in the match have allowed the bombers to come in and win. Because first you have to destroy the enemy air, or the enemy forgets to build AA or whatever, and then the bombers can come in and do their destructive thing. But if you have a whole bunch of bombers against an enemy that is even just a little bit prepared, then they go down.
Yeah, I
Very
agree with that.
situational.
So they need to be coupled with either some method of either you distract the enemy so that their entire air fleet is elsewhere, or you've artillery sniped their AA away or something. So them by themselves, I wouldn't put it in A tier, but you're absolutely right. They end the games completely.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I think it's B tier because of exactly what you said. It's counterable. You should be able to counter it if you have common sense. So why should it be so high? I don't know. It's just like I just see a human repeated failure of countering them, but that doesn't make that it should be so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Let's throw in the comm drop, the classic comm drop. So I am the comm drop guy. I got half my games I've comm dropped. So, and I do it in a lot of lobbies, and people get very mad at me. And I kind of feel like they made it so that it requires the heavy transport in my honor. I'd like to think that, but I don't know if that's the case. But either way, I can micro a commander better than every other unit in the game now, just because that. But basically, with a Finch, you have to have the Finch. If you don't have a Finch, this is completely useless. I think this is still going to be like low A tier, in my opinion, because I think that it's counterable, but it's still substantial. It still could play a very significant role to the extent where A tier it is. That's where I think. What do you guys think?
I'm inclined to agree, just because a good con drop, you can self-destruct even if it looks like it's going bad, and you can completely take out someone's base if they're not prepared for it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Thoughts?
You
The
can turn
counter is
tide,
one fighter,
so it
right?
could-
Yep.
Well, that's what the
Yeah,
scout is
you
for.
sacrifice a lot of metal, but if you can turn the tide with it, then it's a good play.
I think so. All right.
Very high risk, very high reward.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's honestly gives it points in my book. Who's not on the edge of their chair when they're doing one of those, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's amazing to watch.
Luckily, I've been on the
Even-
right side of that play. But
Even if you're on the other side, it's always fun to watch it fly in, even if you know that you're about to blow up. It's great fun.
Yeah. All right. Last but not least, the Tsar push. The Tsar with the thing. Don't ignore where I start these because it's not indicative of where it is. With the jammer, I have the Armada jammer, but the Cortex jammer is basically the same thing. So, where do you think it goes? A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
very heavy assault. Yeah.
Is this specifically the rush the Tsar to have it out immediately, or just in general having a Tsar on the field at any point in time?
I would say with all of them, they have their time in which they're relevant. I don't think this is a good. We're pushing into tier 3 unit. I think it's definitely solid late tier 2, mid tier 2 sort of unit.
As I've seen people do a Tsar rush as like the very first thing they do, and the team helps them build it just to get that Tsar out on the field immediately, and then it's super powerful. But outside of that, I would just put it in like the mid ranges, like B tier, because it's still a good unit.
Yeah.
But it really shines if you tech up into it and just dump it onto the field and surprise an enemy with it.
Yeah.
Then I see it win games.
So thank you.
Yeah,
There's
I
not
agree with
much
that.
you can do if you rush it early.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to say C tier because the Cortex commander, or any commander really, all they do, the secret to dealing with this is to remain cloaked and to sit still until they're near you, and then to degun it. Because this does not involve the usual contingent of pawns or ticks, by itself the Tsar with the Deceiver, or Smuggler in this case, isn't good enough, I would say, to be anything but C tier. That's just my thought. What do you guys think?
Very fair.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
A high C tier, I would say. Yeah.
High C tier.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so this is just a little preview of what we do here in Creed on a regular basis. If you like this sort of video, let me know. I know a lot of new players get a lot of help from the stuff we do here. Like, we go over unit compositions and counters, and, you know, we really study this stuff. I'll leave the Discord link somewhere. I think I'm not, like, this is my second YouTube video, so I really not gonna get the permission to post links. You have to like earn that permission by like publishing 20 videos or something. So I'll put it in like the title or something like that. If you want to join our Discord, you're welcome to jump in. We have a lot of fun. We are so active at this point, we sometimes outpace the actual bar Discord with activity. We're dedicated to non-toxicity, so come only if you have a great attitude and you're an adult and want to do non-toxic gaming with other people. That's what this is all about. So yeah, come join us, be part of what we do. We'd love to have you, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys, and definitely don't subscribe. I'm not a YouTuber, so yeah, I'm not going for that whole life. See ya.